This morning I have been given the honor to come here to say a few words of Dr. Sun Yat Sen. And I won't be surprised many of you are already expert in this area. I've seen masters, gurus, so-called researchers in Dr. Sun Yat Sen's work among you all. I just thank just now William for opening the Sun Yat Sen's characteristics introduction. And I wouldn't be surprised that many of you already know that. And then also I'd like you, during my presentation there may be some differences or discrepancies because in the history, in the books that I read about, many a time the dates are not the same. If there is such a thing, please accept my apologies. It's not intended to be that way. I try to do my best. Dr. Sun Yat Sen was rightly proven that he was a Hakka. That's the important thing. That's what he did. How to you? Here's the thing. Right. So today, within half an hour, I'd just like to share with you a glimpse of what and how Dr. Sun started his journey of revolution, and a bit of how he did it. I think many of us want to know. Like me, I want to know. I am not an expert or authority on Dr. Sun Yat Sen's story. Starting from very young days, I heard about it. In the school, I learned about it. And thereafter, I read about it. And over the last few weeks, I did a bit of research. So I find that his life was very intriguing. Very intriguing. I think there are a lot of things we can learn from him. Right, let's ask this question. Dr. Sun Yat Sen, who is he? When I say Sun Yat Sen, without references, many of our Chinese particularly, they don't know who he is. We Chinese only know of him as Dr. Sun Yat Sen. Sun Zhongshan. And better known to some contemporaries is known as Sun Da Pao. It's a big cannon. Because he talked a lot. He had been talking for over 20 years about the revolution. Never see the raindrops. So, but anyway, he did in the end. He was a very legendary character. So legendary. So legendary that no quality, as far as I know of, can match it. He's the greatest vagabond. He lived around the world. He's the man of two worlds. One side China, the other side is the Western world. He toured around the world. He conjured up the spirit of the overseas Chinese, as well as local Chinese, to raise against the Manchu monarchy. He never had a home. He lived off his suitcase, every day on the run. His head was on a bounty. He was awarded 200,000 reward to get his head to the Qing government. He was such a character. Next, he was a great reformer. No ways. Can you show me where? Thank you. Right? He was a great reformer. Great in the sense that single-handedly he was able to get Chinese, 400 million of it, to go against the Qing dynasty. That's one thing great. Nowhere else in the world. And he was a leader of vision and fortitude. He kept on telling people, unless Qing was overthrown, there's no way China to be safe. At the time when China was chopped up left and right, only 60% of the land belonged to China actually left behind by the time he started his revolution. 40% were in the hands of the foreign powers. I'll show you the map afterwards. And he is a fortitude person because he persists and persevered and he fought again and again in spite of failures until he at last achieved. He devoted his life to the revolution. From the day he knew about the world, as William said, when he went over to Hawaii, he saw the whole world, the different world in Hong Kong, the different society in Hawaii, and he read about Abraham Lincoln by the people, for the people, of the people. And then he said that China must change. If it don't change, there will be no future for the Chinese. So he started his revolution from the age of almost 18, as young as 18. By the time he was 26, 2 years after his medical practice, he was on the wanted list. So he ran for his life in Japan. And since then, never come back until after the Xinhai Revolution. Almost 18 years in exile. He at last overturned the Qing dynasty of monarchy, and also ended the over 2,000 years of Chinese imperial government system. So he was very, very great. He at last established the first Republic of Asia. In those years, the Asian countries were all dominated by foreign powers, almost. All monarchy system, like Thailand, Japan, they still got a monarchy. Indonesia, Southeast Asia were all in the hands of foreign power. China was the only republic at the time. Great country. Of course, he replaced the old system with the new system, which is known as the People's Republic, or People's Three Principles, or the Three People's Principle. 人权、民权、民主、民生. And he used that as a Bible. And now China, of course, Taiwan in particular, are practicing these three principles. Now, when you talk about Sun Yat Sen, you cannot avoid speaking about Hakka, because he is Hakka. So as such, we must know a little bit of Hakka, for the sake of those who don't know. Some of you here have a little bit of knowledge about what Hakka is. Hakka is a claim. They claim, or we claim, Hakka is a true Han people from thousands of years ago, and they have been migrating to the south. It's something like a nomad, or they say something like a Jews, and they eventually settled down in the south. And Sun Yat Sen was the great son of Hakka. So, what did the Hakka have? Hakka has a spirit, we call Hakka spirit. That is what Hakka people embrace everywhere in the world. First one is endure hardships. You see all this in Hong Kong, or in Singapore, in Malaysia, Indonesia, or certain part of the world, including certain part of Europe. Whenever there were hard workers required, you find Hakkas were there, or others to rescue them. So Hakka are the great hardworking people. They respect education. They make sure that children get the best of everything, and in particular education. The Hakka say that 再穷也不请教育. We have to work hard for the children. They believe that only through education will the children have a better future. Respect ancestors. Now this is very typical character. Not only we go there and worship the ancestor. Every Hakka, when they went anywhere, they carry the bones of the ancestor in the jar. They carry the bones in the jar, according to the story. And they bury them wherever they settle down as the first song. And they are to worship them. Next part is that the Hakka so-called spirit, true spirit. 自尊自立, self-esteem, self-reliance. Every Hakka feel very proud of being a Hakka. If you talk to Hakka, they'll say, where are you from? Which Hakka? Which race? Which part of China? Who's your famous person and so on. So China, the Hakka are very self-esteem, very self-reliant. Not only self-reliant, they're very working as a group. They're united together in heart and in spirit. They have confidence. That's what Sun Yat Sen has. He's very confident in his work. He believes he can do it. He believes he can achieve it. He believes he can throw out the Qing dynasty. Self-improvement continuously over the revolution time. Sun Yat Sen failed many times, but he never say die. He keep improving it. From the first revolution uprising, using the guns and spears and inexperienced youngsters to fight the war, he eventually ended up when the Xinhai Revolution took place, they were already trained soldiers ready to fight for him. So they keep improving. Patriotic love for motherland, the overseas Chinese in particular, they talk about Tang San, Tong San, go back to China. They go to die in China. They send money back to China to build houses to improve the local well-being. That's what happened. And of course, entrepreneurial spirit among all Chinese. Hakka is also one. They are very enterprising. Right? That's why they call Hakka as the Jews of Asia. Jews of Asia. Right. What causes the revolution? William mentioned that he came, he saw, and then he said, look, China must be changed. Fair enough. But there are other factors as well. What makes Sun Yat Sen? And Qi Xi, 十七大后 was approached to say you must change. Open the country, change the system, did this, did that. But she refused all. Except some money for the army, to pay a young Jin. Next factor that caused the revolution is the corrupt, inefficient government. The Qing government was so ignorant. They don't know how many people were there in China. They didn't know how many officials are in the government list. They didn't know how much money or don't have or they have. It's just use. And the people were very often taxed. Whatever possible, they milk the money from the people. So they feel very exploited. Next, Qing's tyranny. They bully people, they slaughter them, chop them in the open, behead them. Whenever they say they were thousands and thousands of Chinese died at the time, particularly the young and energetic. So people feel very discontented, and many of them went overseas to make a living. That's why we came here. That's why we are here. That's why we end up here anyway. See, Hakka people came from the north, and they went to southern China. From southern China, they go to Nanyang, south part of China, and now they come further south. Our next trip will be Antarctica. Because that's all we have, no more. But anyway, we hope not. We now go back. A lot of us now go back to China. Foreign powers intervention is the other factor. I think at the time I just mentioned, 60% almost the land of China were under the influence of the Western power, or the superpowers, not the Western, Japan, Russia, and also part of it. So they cut off China and they humiliated the people. I think you heard about a story in Shanghai, Xiaolong, the story about dogs and Chinese cannot enter. That was the greatest insult. And in over Chinese, the Chinese migrants, they were bullied by the local and were exploited by the local, but the Chinese government, Qing government at the time, never intervened, never go and help people. Instead, they exploit further. So, these are the 4 reasons, and a couple more reasons I need to tell you. The revolution was not actually took place until Dr. Sun started to cheer up, to motivate the people, to call the people, wake up, wake up, wake up, China must be saved by everyone. So he did that, he tried to do very hard. So later I show the chronology of the revolution, how he did it, what he did. First, at the time, around the second part of the 19th century, the nationalism began to take place. Very, very great movement was in place, and the people begin to do something about it. So some of them were clandestine activities, something like guerrillas, and something like underground activities. They have a lot of assassinations, a lot of political upheavals, a lot of unfortunate things happens during the time. And the last but not least is the ethnic resentment against the Qing. So during the time, Qing was a minority group in the Chinese so-called race. They are only 10%, and Han 90%, dominated by them, only by them. Of course, Qing made use of Chinese to rule Chinese. They used the Qing, so-called Chinese, Han underdog, or no, sorry, Han running dog, to control the Han people. They used the Han people to control the Han people. And the Qing people just sit on the laurel and enjoy the life. So these were 6 major reasons, not all, but these are 6 major reasons. That's why the revolution began. So here is the picture of the Qing, impotent, incompetent, and shouting stop. The revolution took place. And then right. You may ask, as I already asked all the time, how did Sun Yat Sen started his revolution? He got nothing, virtually nothing, except his clinic, medical clinic. But he used the medical clinic as a breeding ground in the early days. Start talking, getting the feedback, and test the waters and see how the people react. At last, he was convinced that China must be saved through revolution. Earlier, he submitted a proposal to the so-called Viceroy, Li Fengzhang, to say China can be reformed and must be done this manner, this manner, this manner. His proposal was totally ignored. So he found that cannot do something through reform, he must do something a bit harshly. That is by revolution.革命. Only 革命 can be throw Manching dynasty out. So he did that. So his modus operandi, the highlights rather, he started off by going around China, connect and networking with all the secret society. In those days, Chinese society had a very strong attachment to Ming dynasty, and after Ming collapsed, Qing took over, they have some, in fact many secret society formed. Secret society is Hongmen. Hongmen, Sun Yat Sen went around, connect all these Hongmen, make friends with them, and he became a member of Hongmen and start all these underground activities. He makes cells, he make underground secret activities all the time. And then later on, when he went back, no, he was actually in China. As Matthew said, he went back to Hawaii again. In Hawaii, he started the Xinzhonghui, that is Revive China Society. It was an underground movement. His brother supported him. His brother even sold the land and eventually bankrupt because of Sun Yat Sen. Yes, he did. And Sun Yat Sen went back. He formed societies, all sorts of activities underground, and he started to import guns, 600 guns at the time, and start the revolution. But unfortunately, the secret leaked out, and Qing government arrested him, or not arrested him, arrested all his supporters and his compatriots, and he managed to escape through Hong Kong to Taiwan to Japan. So in Japan, he meet up with all the people, the scholars in particularly, and those days there were thousands and thousands of scholars studying in Japan, and he meet them up and propound his three principles, and start the movement in Japan. And Japan had been the bed of revolution. And from Japan, he 1 year in 1896, went to London via US. And in London, he was kidnapped. This was a famous story then. His story was reported in the paper, and all the English society, English-speaking country, then knew about him. They knew about him. He became very, very popular, and also became very dangerous. So he had nowhere to go. He had nowhere to go. He went back to Taiwan and Japan in particular. Taiwan many times. Japan was actually his base. And he also managed to sneak into Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, he organized much bigger society that is called the Commemorate. This was really the so-called stranglehold of the revolution. He based in Hong Kong. Hong Kong then was under British government. So he based there and started his operation, and his disciples, follows instruction, and did all the work for him while he was in exile. Right, next highlight. He toured again in America, Canada, and Europe, where he raised funds and recruit people who are prepared to join him for the revolution. And he was so popular, the Qing government couldn't stand it anymore. Qing government pressed the Japanese government, say, look, you must not allow this chap to nestle his people in Japan. In Japan, he recruited a lot of scholars. All his left, right-hand men were from Japan, including Jiang Jingwei, Wang Xin. They were all scholars. They were all top students from China. Right, he was kicked out. In 1910, he went to Southeast Asia. And in Southeast Asia, he collected a lot of money because people supported him wholeheartedly. And he ended up in Penang hiding for a few months because he knew where to go. Nowhere to go. And in Penang, he mooted out his systematic, schematic uprising in China. That was told. So there he started a series of uprising planning. So he did that. Altogether, some 20 uprisings since then in China. And only the last one, the so-called Xinhai Revolution, on October the 10th, was successful. It succeeded in ending the 260 years of Qing monarchy. Now, thereafter, there are a lot of changes. The face of China was totally changed. He became a provisional president, but that is only for southern part of China. After the Xinhai革命, 18 states out of 26 declared independence and expressed their loyalty to Sun Yat Sen. So at that time, China was not united. The northern China was under Yan Xi. Although the Qing kings and queens they were still there, Sun Yat Sen wanted to unite China without bloodshed. So he offered special term to Yan Xi, who was a general summon for the Qing army. He said, if you manage to get the Qing royalty to abdicate and go home to Manchuria, I will let you have my presidency. So Sun Yat Sen was very, very generous. He's not very keen to be a president. I want Chinese to be united. I want China to be in one piece. Later, he actually declared himself as a king of Chinese Empire, 中华帝国. He became the king. But fortunately or unfortunately, he only stayed king for 83 days. 83 days. because all his army general, all the people around him oppose him to be the king. There are political reasons for this. If he's going to be the king, his son will be the successor in the future. If he's a president, anyone can become a president. That means it belongs to the people. So that's how people revolt him. Eventually, he died. Sun Yat Sen came back. Unfortunately, by the time he came back, already there were many warlords. All the Sun Yat Sen's general of every state, every province, he got a so-called governor. All were formerly generals. All these governors, eventually after when Deng died, they became the warlord. I have my own territory. Chinese say Zhuhou. Right? They have they have their own army. So again, Sun Yat Sen started the third revolution. Second revolution against Deng, third revolution against the warlords. But during the preparation stage, he was in Shanghai. And he put all his thoughts, his knowledge, 三民主义, 建国大纲, all this into black and white. And there he put up all in writings. And these write-ups were the so-called the golden rules of the modern China. So that is the legacy he got from the Chinese people. In March 25, unfortunately, he died at the age of 59 with lung cancer. Right. So that was the story of the revolution. This is what I got for you. Yes, modus operandi. So that was a chronological order. Now this is how he did it. Start from zero. All remember, he started from zero. He got nothing. He even owed people $5,000 when he opened his clinic, and he's not paid back yet. Not paid back. And then he started the revolution, so forget about the loan. So he went around to China to travel to raise awareness. He joined Homan. This is a very important turning point. He joined Homan, and Homan, I can't remember. Homan is a worldwide organization. He went to America. The police arrested him. The government arrested him because under the pressure of Qing government. Homan saved him. He went to Malaysia. It was Homan who kept him there. It was a Homan who raised a fund for him. Right? He is actually living on Homan. Good people. Intensive propaganda education. He organized newspaper. He, through his colleagues and cohorts, so to speak, produced a lot of articles, a lot of paper in China all over the world. And raised funds for overseas Chinese. Now, this is the biggest hurdle he overcome. Later on, he claimed that overseas Chinese was the father of revolution. Without overseas Chinese, there wouldn't be revolution because he got no money. He got no money. The last ditch, he went to Penang. At the time, he was totally bankrupt. In Penang, he was there in Malaysia for 5 to 6 months. And during the time, the Homan raised money everywhere, including a small town where my grandfather stayed. That was outside Kuala Lumpur. My grandfather told me he was a very terrific speaker, very powerful personality. So they all went in and just give him money. They met him in the town, met him in the shop, met him in the hawker store, just give him money. And give him the money more than, in fact, some of them, the life saving. They just give him. Right, and then they recruit commandos, desperados, as William said, and send them back to China. From Taiwan, from Japan mostly, and some from Southeast Asia, recruited the so-called 敢死队. They are prepared to die for him. They went back to China not only to die but also to organize. The plan, all this plan and strategy was under the supervision of Wang Xin. Wang Xin is another character, later on we talk about him. Organized activities. This is the reward activities space here, there, everywhere in China. So he organized a lot. Right? The last Sun Yat Sen succeeded in October the 10th. So then you may try to find out what are the success factors. You can't simply say, I won the road, I'm going to succeed. No, you won't. Unless you have certain quality. You can't simply say, I'm going to win. Like all businesses, right? You must have certain quality. And the first quality is Sun Yat Sen himself. Because he himself is the spiritual leader. He himself is a motivator. He himself is the so-called diehard, 驚死不怕死. So this is what happened. He, of course, is a Hakka first. Hakka first, revolution second. So Hakka give him the character, give him the so-called spirit or the blood he required. Fluent in Chinese, Japanese, and English. In those days, he was a very rare species who can speak Chinese, Japanese, and English as particular. Not many Chinese, you can count by your finger. Not many. They were Chinese, they were Japanese, they were so-called American or English, but not three combined. He can speak three languages, it's a very rare animal. He was a US citizen. A lot of people don't know. He claimed himself born in Hawaii and get a US citizen. He did. And of course, he was a Christian. That is, all these two enable him to travel around the world. Without that, he wouldn't be able to leave the country. With that, Japanese would dare touch him because he's an American citizen. Oh. This is a secret. A lot of people don't know. You're not found in the book. It's taught by me. I found it somewhere. I have a small collection. I have found it somewhere that he was, because of necessity, he tried his best and get an American citizenship when he was in Hawaii. Second time he came back. And with that, he traveled around the world using American citizenship. Right? Professionally qualified, as I would say, he was a medical doctor. Not only a medical doctor, he was the first Chinese medical doctor qualified by police. So he's a unique animal. Right? Nobody can match. Nobody can match. And of course, magnetic personality, great orator. Over years, he's been practicing talking. He was very convincing. Knowledge of the West, this is one thing. No political rivals could match him. He was trying to be pushed out, he was trying to be ousted, he was trying to vote out, he was trying to be, but eventually they called him back because no one can replace him. When he was in Malaysia, there were a lot of struggle among the party, among the Zhongxin Wei. And they want him to be out because he does not do anything, or what he did was not very successful. So they say Sun Yat Sen must be replaced. Who replaced him? Look around. No one can replace him because of his character. So eventually he stayed put and led the people, led the revolution, and succeeded. That was his greatness. Right. Success factor number 2. At the time, the Qing was really going down. Financially, bankrupt. Militarily, no way they can defend the country. The 8 nations power, 8 nations alliance just came in and did what they want. And the people wake up. That means by the time when Sun Yat Sen started the revolution, people start to realize what he said was true. We must do something. We must work. We must get Qing out. Many youngsters died for him. Altogether, I don't know how many million people died for him during the revolution. Unceasing support for overseas Chinese during all his entire life when he was in Southeast Asia, escaped from Japan and escaped from the mainland China. The people in Southeast Asia supported him right through until the day he succeeded. Outstanding personality, I talk about it now. This character Wang Xin. Wang Xin, it was said that the Chinese Revolution will not have a revolution without Sun Yat Sen. And Sun Yat Sen will not be Sun Yat Sen without Wang Xin. Just imagine how big is Wang Xin, how important is he. He was the shadow of Sun Yat Sen, he was his advisor, and he was his right-hand man because Sun Yat Sen then was outside China, couldn't go back. Wang Xin was the man who traveled in and out. And went back to China, organized a revolution and come out, organized a come out. So Wang Xin involved in the last 10 revolutions or uprisings until October the 10th. So Wang Xin was a great man. They say without Wang Xin, there wouldn't be Sun Yat Sen. Without Sun Yat Sen, there wouldn't be China, New China. So Wang Xin was a very important person and played a very important part in Chinese Revolution. Right, success factor 3. Chinese believe these 3 elements: 天时地利人和. So Sun Yat Sen got all these three elements with him. Feng Tan is the right timing. If he born some other time, not during the last 25 years of Qing dynasty, he may not be able to succeed. At the time, people really flare out, and he got the support. So that was the right time. Right place, he happened to be in Hong Kong, south of China. South of China traditionally always against Beijing. Yes, you look at the history. They call the south of China as barbarian. In those days, China never cared about the southern China. They only care about the Wang He and in between and go up and up. Down south, they're all up, so they never bother. But the southern people were ready to fight with them. Sun Yat Sen happened to be there, and he based himself not only there, but also in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a very important operation point for Sun Yat Sen. Without Hong Kong, they won't be able to succeed. Later, when October 10 uprisings successfully completed, Sun Yat Sen was informed when he was in the US, and he asked to come back. While on his way of coming back, he went to Europe, saw the British bankers, French bankers, German bankers, stop all the bank finances to Qing government. At the same time, he asked the British government to allow him to give him a special passport to travel back to Hong Kong. At the time, he was on the wanted list. So he managed to get all this, and then he went back 2 months later and resumed his post and became elected as a provisional president of China. So he was very lucky. He based in Hong Kong. Of course, the people support. The Chinese say, those who got the heart of the people will get the vote. 得人天下者得天下. So he did that. He to bear with me for 5 more minutes. Dr. Sun Yat Sen was guiding spirit of Chinese Revolution. That was true. He will read through the whole story. Second one, he devoted his life to the cause. He helped shape both the culture and the government of modern China. They used the principles, the three people principles, and then China reconstructs, and all these books that he had written, and that became the so-called Constitution of China, and now being practiced by both Chinese governments. He was brave, but also daring, optimistic, confident, never to discourage by failures. Throughout his whole life, not only the uprising, but many occasions, he was under arrest, under reject, or under many duress. And yet, he continued. His legacy inspired the population and later the leaders of China. That's what happened in China today. From a cult leader, a small group leader, he became the hero of China. Today, he is the father of China, the pioneer of Chinese Revolution, and anything you name it. All over China, there are streets, there are buildings, there are memorials named after him. He is the greatest man of Chinese history. Thank you very much.